Usually I don't film in the mornings. My face is all fucked up and puffy and shit. Duh. And, I haven't really woken up and stuff. But I figured with this, from my horrible toilet accident, yeah, it won't really matter what my fucking face looks like with this shiner, does it? So, here we are for another LSJ's Late Review. Yes, I know. I did say that I was doing a movie from the 90s. I even posted a tweet about this 90s movie that I was going to review. It's a GIF. I only ever give clues like that, like a photo of the movie or a GIF of the movie. So I posted that, and then turns out my wife wants to watch it, so we're going to have to wait a little longer. Hey, and speaking of the tweets, always follow me if you want a little hint of something I might be watching or something coming up. There you go. The tweety's down below. But today, we're going to 1956 with this movie, While the City Sleeps. So While the City Sleeps is a movie directed by famous director Fritz Lang. Everyone kind of knows him for Metropolis, which I've never seen. So this is the first Fritz Lang movie I've ever watched. And it features a whole bunch of actors that only your parents or grandparents have ever heard of, as well as, Vincent Price and John Barrymore, who's the father of Drew. So, your parents and grandparents are going to know all the actors in this. I only knew two. Yeah, that's fine. But the gist of this movie is there's a media empire called Kine. And the guy who owns Kine Publishing, he passes away, leaving Kine Publishing to his son, his idiot son, played by Vincent Price. He's a bit of an idiot and a bit of an asshole. And he doesn't try to kill anyone. That's weird. You see Vincent Price and you'd like, oh, he's going to fucking kill half these people, right? It's Vincent bloody Price. But no, he's pretty much just a corporate CEO in this movie. It's kind of bizarre to see him in a normal movie. Yeah. So anyway, he takes over of Kine Publishing, and he knows he doesn't have the experience that his dad did running this empire, this media empire. So he pits three of the higher ups, excuse me, in Kine against each other for this promotion. And it's the guy in charge of the wire service, the guy in charge of the newspaper, and another guy in charge of like the front page of the newspaper or something like that, all pitted against each other for this promotion. In the background to all this, you've got the lipstick killer. You know who he is because you see him committing a murder at the start. So there's never a mystery as to who it is. It's just more of how they catch him, kind of like a Columbo episode, I guess. Excuse me. Oh, see, that's why I don't do this in the morning. So, and the three people going for this promotion, they all think, all right, in order to get this promotion, maybe the way to do that is to find out who the lipstick killer is. And they all backstab and connive each other and use each other and use people to use each other in order to try and get this promotion. So there's that going on in the background. I really like how this movie kind of shows you 1950s journalism and things like that. It's really interesting. Now there are some liberties taken because I doubt the newspaper, the TV news, the wire service, and all that are on the same office. Because you'd have different floors for all that kind of shit. Heaps of people working on them. It doesn't matter. It's all kind of amalgamated onto one floor of this giant building. Good kind. If you can, they take some liberties and things like that. But in terms of showing you how a lot of this kind of stuff worked in the 50s, it's really fascinating and interesting, and it really drew me in. So there's some really good things I liked about this movie. I liked a lot of the characters. Very well fleshed out. Their motivations and all that shine through. So you always get a clear picture of who everyone is and what they're doing, what they're up to, who they're backstabbing against, all this kind of stuff. There is that kind of casual misogyny. All right, so a woman walks through the corridor, and everyone and people in the newsroom are like, "Whoa, fucking hell," shit like that. There's some of that. So just be aware that there is a little bit of that. If that bothers you, okay, well, there's my disclaimer right there. Miss this movie. If that doesn't bother you, if you realize that old movies have uh, old standards and old ways of doing things, then you can kind of just go along with the film. No one's clear cut good or bad. Even the protagonist, played by Dana Andrews, he's a journalist, Mobley, his name is. He's not the night. He's a really good journalist, really good guy, but he always cheats on. He kind of almost cheats on his fiancee, kissing another woman and stuff, who's using him because she's working with one of the three dudes in order to, backstab in order to get this promotion and shit like that. So no one's quite clear cut in this movie. There are a lot of things I like about it. The characters, the pacing. It's only an hour and a half, but there are a couple things I really don't like about the movie. Which is funny because I'm going to give this a decent rating, right? But there's some things that fucking annoy me in this movie. One of them, they shit on comic books. This is a 1956 movie. Shits on comic books. There was a lot of shitting on comic books in the 50s. There was even like a McCarthy era Senate hearing about how dangerous comics are to the youth and how they corrupt the youth and all that kind of bullshit. In fact, if you still have people coming up to you and saying, "Oh, you read comics? Aren't they for kids?" One, they're stupid. Two, haven't they seen The Walking Dead or Watchmen or something like that? Come on, comics aren't just for kids. Or even more recently, The Boys. There you go. That's a comic book. Would you let your kids read that? No, you wouldn't. But if you have someone in the modern day tell you that comics are for kids, that stigma for comics stemmed from the 1950s and the McCarthy era and all that kind of stuff. So there's shits on comics. Of course, the killer reads comics. So obviously comics are fucking bad. That really pissed me off. Another thing, there's this weird leap in logic. Mild spoilers here. Mobley and his detective buddy, they're having this conversation about the killer and his motivations and all this kind of stuff, like what he might do next. And Mobley's just like, "Oh, well, if he's attacked people during the night time and he's gotten away with it, he's going to get bolder, which means he's going to attack someone, oh my God, like right now, in broad daylight, with an armed guard, even with an armed guard on that person. He's going to do it now, let's go." It turns out they're all right. And I'm like, I think that's a weird leap of logic. I'm surprised the police officer didn't just go, what? But, yeah. So, not the complete movie doesn't quite work. However, there is a lot of really interesting things. I liked seeing how the reporting was done. I liked seeing this game of how the promotion and things would play off. I liked seeing them pit themselves against each other, these once buddies and comrades in the newspaper or the news business, just turning on each other and how that all played out. It's really interesting. There is a element of guy gets the girl at the end, which features in a lot of this, even if the dude in question's a bit of a cad. He's only a little bit of a cad, but yeah, he's and the reporter just has amazing leaps of logic and more knowledge than everyone else. You can just figure shit out. That's fine. It's an hour and a half movie. You're gonna cut a few corners, I guess, with the story. I probably could have used another 10 minutes maybe of this. It's not entirely predictable. I thought, well, okay, they're setting it up so she is being lost by the police, but it's the woman across the hall who might die instead. Apart from the deaths of two characters, two women who aren't characters of the movie, anyone who's a main character in the movie, including women, they all survive, all that kind of stuff. So it's it could have gone this darker, I guess, more interesting route if they did a few things, but 1950s movie, they don't want to guess be too shocking or something like that. But at the end, I quite enjoyed it. As I said, there's a couple of things that really pissed me off. However, they didn't. It didn't take my enjoyment away from the film. It's well shot. It's very well acted. I just had a blast. There's a few laughs there. There's a few surprising moments. There's a few weird leaps of logic. However, I really liked it. Uh, and Dana Andrews, who plays Mowgli, has this really amazing drunk acting. I googled him, and it turns out he suffered from alcoholism for a long time. So maybe that's not quite as much acting as you think, but that's just guessing on my part. I have no idea. So while the city sleeps, despite some things that really pissed me off, this movie managed to kind of stick with me and be a really entertaining time. I give it a 7 out of 10. If you can find it, check it out. I'm curious to check out some of Fritz Lang's other noir movies from the 50s. And now I'm also curious, maybe you're checking out Metropolis. So unlike last video, where it obviously been so long between videos that I forgot to do this bit, but give me a like, dislike, share and subscribe, follow me on the Twitter and all that crap. And hopefully my next review will be that 90s movie. We've got a bit of a backlog happening now. Bit exciting of movies to watch. I don't know when the next LSJ review of a more recent movie is coming out. I'm on a late review kick, so there you go. All right, let's stick the thing on the thing. Yeah. All right. Well, the city sleeps. Pretty decent.